In this video, our focus will be on conduct and actions of players and others in unsportsmanlike conduct. The focus of this video will be on rule number 9. Some of the topics that we will discuss in this video will be conduct of players and non-players, unsportsmanlike actions, and dead ball officiating. Let's look closer at Rule 9.4.3, illegal personal contact. No player or non-player shall fight. No player or non-player shall intentionally contact a game official. No player or non-player shall swing a foot, shin, knee into an opponent, nor extend the knee to meet the blocker. Charge into or throw an opponent to the ground after he is obviously out of the play, or after the ball is clearly dead, either in or out of bounds. Pile on a player who is lying on the ground. Hurdle an opponent. Position themselves on the shoulders or body of a teammate or opponents to gain advantage. Throw a helmet to trip an opponent. Make any other contact with an opponent, including a defenseless player, which is deemed unnecessary or excessive and which incites roughness. No player should grasp an opponent's face mask, any edge of the helmet opening, chin strap, tooth, and mouth protector attached to the face mask, or twist, turn, or pull the face mask. Helmet opening, chin strap, or tooth and mouth protector attached to the face mask. Or incidentally grasp an opponent's face mask, helmet opening, chin strap, or tooth and mouth protector attached to the face mask. Initiate any illegal helmet contact. Note here, illegal helmet contact may be judged by the game official as flagrant act. Acts that may be judged to be flagrant include, but are not limited to, illegal helmet contact against an opponent lying on the ground, illegal helmet contact against an opponent being held up by other players, and or illegal helmet-to-helmet contact against a defenseless opponent. No player shall strike an opponent with his fist, locked hands, forearm, elbow, nor kick or knee him. Grab the inside, back, or side collar, or the nameplate area directly below the collar of either the shoulder pads or the jersey of the runner, subsequently pulling him backward or sideward, that opponent to the ground, which is called a horse collar. Even if possession is lost, the horse collar foul is enforced as a live ball foul. Initiate contact with opposing player whose helmet has come completely off. Target an opponent, execute a blindside block outside the free blocking zone with forceful contact unless initiated with open hands, or trip an opponent. Let's take a look at the penalty enforcement for conduct in Rule 9.4 as in accordance with the NFHS rulebook. Fighting, intentional contact with game officials, striking, kicking, or nailing opponent are in Articles 1, 2, and 3J is a 15-yard penalty and a disqualification. Article 3A through O is a 15-yard penalty, and Article 3H with the face mask can be a 5-yard incidental grasping of the face mask or a 15-yard penalty for intentionally grabbing, twisting, and turning of the face mask. Rule 9.4 also states in Article 7 that no defensive player may use his hands to slap a blocker's head. Penalty for this is a 15-yard penalty. Rule 9.4, Article 8 states unintentional contact between a non-player and a game official in the restricted area while the ball is live. Penalty for this is first offense is 15 yards from the succeeding spot, second offense is 15 yards from the succeeding spot, and the head coach is disqualified. Remember, our restricted area is the area in front of the team box. Articles 1 through 8 in Rule 9 can be a disqualification also if any fouls under these restrictions are judged by the game official or officials to be flagrant. A best practice here would be for the crew should come together to discuss this prior to issuing a disqualification to ensure all relevant information is provided to the referee to ensure that a DQ is warranted. Let's take a look at some plays. On our first play, we will focus inside the red circle just in front of the area where the runner is tackled. First thing to consider in this play is what official or official's area of responsibility is this to focus on. Next item to consider is this legal or illegal action? And if it's illegal, would you rule blindside block, defenseless player, late hit? It is difficult to tell the exact time of when the ball became dead on this play as we do not hear the whistle for a late hit, but we can easily be ruled blindside block on this play. On the next play, we have an attempted onside kick. Receiver falls on the ball and is down by rule. Notice the K player comes in late and contacts the R player on the ground. This is a dead ball foul for a late hit. On this play, we have a pass caught by number 7, who is then wrapped up and being tackled a few yards in bounds. Notice the continuation of the tackle takes them out of bounds. You may hear the sideline wanting a flag on this play for a late hit out of bounds, as long as the action by the defense remains legal on this play, and the action is continuation of the tackle, then it is legal action. This could change on any play and become illegal or a late hit, so be alert and stay with the play from start to finish. On our next play is a kickoff. Our focus will be around the 30-yard line, inside the red circle. Notice the 2 players engaged in this area. First, think what official or officials should to see this action. Not all officials need to be watching the ball. The officials who saw this action need to rule on whether it is legal or illegal. If you rule on it being legal, but saw this action, you can keep an eye on these 2 players later in the game and ensure this action does not escalate. On this play, we have action by 2 players and the ball inside the red circle. The referee throws his flag. This is good to get this action. As you see, towards the end of the play, it escalates as 2 other players run into the area and make contact. Analyzing this type of conduct will help to prevent issues later in the game. In this play, we have an incomplete pass around the near hash mark. Notice the 2 players in the red circle and their action. The line judge on this play does a great job both off-ball officiating and dead ball officiating. By staying alert and focused on the field, the line judge was able to catch this conduct and flag it. Focus on the quarterback on this play as he runs to the far sideline by a defensive player. We have to rule whether this is legal or illegal by rule. Remember, our decision on this play, like this, could potentially have an impact on the actions of the players later in the game. On this play, our attention will be on the 2 players engaged around the 44-yard line at the bottom of the screen. Notice the line judge on this play comes down to the spot of the ball and squares off to spot the ball and goes right by these 2 players. If you observe 2 players engaged and there is a potential for issues, you would be better off to keep the players in your line of sight, and then the spot becomes secondary. Also, if you are aware of the down and distance on this play, you'd realize that this is not a crucial spot, as the ball is at least 10 yards away from the first down marker. Don't get tunnel vision on these plays. On this kickoff, first we're going to focus on the line judge. As you can see, the line judge, you need to be careful and cautious about how far you move downfield kickoff. Remember, you've got the umpires already at the 20-yard line, runner moving up the field, so just be aware of that. The second item here is our late hit, which comes on a tackle made out of bounds right around midfield. You'll see the defensive player come over to make the tackle and hit him late out of bounds. On the next play, we're going to watch the 2 players from white and orange closest to the line judge. As the play ends, they decide to interact after the play. Not saying that there is a foul here, but look at the line judge. His head turned to the right, and he's looking upfield, and he misses this interaction. We need to stay with a play an extra second or 2 to make sure that even though the ball is dead, that all the players have stopped playing and interacting. On this next play, watch the quarterback. He runs the ball on the line judge side. Line judge rules him out of bounds. Notice after he continues to run and crosses the goal line, he's hit by the defensive player in the end zone. All officials need to remain alert on plays like these so we can rule on this hit. On this play, we have an example of the runner's helmet coming off. Remember, the play is dead immediately when the runner's helmet comes off, and we need to sound our whistle and shut this play down immediately for the safety of the runner. On the running back as he grabs and tears the defensive player's helmet off. 2 things here. First, this is a foul by the offensive player for a face mask. Second, the defensive player does not have to leave the game because his helmet was removed from a foul. We have a punt on our next play, and watch the line judge as he's moving upfield in the restricted zone, and he makes contact with a player, and he throws his flag. Remember, this is a 15-yard penalty from the succeeding spot. You also need to notify the coach if this is his first one against him. On our next play, we're going to have both the sideline view and the end zone view to look at. Notice the tackle at the end of the play. The defensive player picks up the runner and slams him or drives him into the ground. This is not legal, and a flag here is appropriate as this is unnecessary and not part of the game of football. So 9.5, non-contact and unsportsmanlike. No player shall act in an unsportsmanlike manner once the game officials assume authority for the contest. Examples are, but not limited to, baiting or taunting acts or words, insignia worn which engenders ill will. The NFHS disapproves of any form of taunting which is intended or designed to embarrass, ridicule, or demean others under any circumstances, using profanity, insulting, or vulgar language or gestures, any delayed, excessive, or prolonged act by which a player attempts to focus attention upon himself, kicking the ball other than during a legal kick, leaving the field between downs to gain an advantage unless replaced or unless with permission of a game official, refusing to comply with a game official's request, and using alcohol or any form of tobacco, which includes e-cigarettes or similar items. Today we have a fumble that is recovered by the defensive player who ends up running it for a touchdown. During his run, he raises his hand and shows the number 1 signal. Your judgment here, but you could consider not flagging this and talking to him and his coach possible. But after he crosses the goal line, he then exceeds what can be tolerated, and he has earned his flag as his actions after the touchdown. He brings lots of attention to himself. On this play, we have a first down, and something we see a lot of is the runner decides to point and let everyone know that he has earned a first down. When this happens, it will be your judgment. Could you talk to him and the coach, or does it raise to the level of a flag? Some things to consider when making your decision are how long he held the pose, was it directly directed at any defensive players, and have you talked to any of the players earlier in the game about this? On the next play, the receiver catches the ball for a touchdown. He then gives the ball to the back judge, and him and a teammate have a brief celebration. I do not think this raises to the level of a flag, as it is quick and not directed at any other team players. On this play, we have a big tackle by the defensive player. Notice how he gets up and has a little celebration, but notice he takes it away from the other players from the other team, and he's just excited about his tackle. Let's take a look at some good dead ball officiating fundamentals. Remember, a dead ball is a ball that's not in play. Let's have good communication with players, coaches, officials. Stay with a play about 2 or 3 seconds after the play is over to ensure the players are done. Remember, officials' whistle seldom makes the ball dead. It's already dead by rule. Do not run past 2 players that are engaged during a dead ball to get the spot. Stay with those 2 players if necessary. Talk to the players when they're umpiring to prevent issues. Use the halo effect when officiating. Officials closest to the ball, the inner ring. Officials farther from the ball have the outer rings. Accordion, pinch in towards the ball and back out at the end of the play. Here's some additional tips to improve your dead ball officiating. Remember, when spotting the ball, hustle but do not hurry. Remember, off the ball officiating. When the ball goes out of bounds, continue to watch action and players. Use the beanbag if necessary to get the spot of a ball, because it's more important to prevent players from interacting than the exact spot. Close down on any play so your presence is felt. And a fumble, only one official needs to dig for the ball. Other officials need to be alert around the pile for any action. Let's look at Rule 10.2, enforcement of penalties. Penalties for unsportsmanlike, non-player, dead ball fouls. Penalties for dead ball fouls, other than when both teams commit unsportsmanlike, non-player, dead ball, personal fouls prior to the completion of the penalty administration for those fouls, are administered separately and in the order of occurrence. A dead ball foul is not coupled with a live ball or another dead ball foul to create a double or multiple foul. If both teams commit unsportsmanlike, non-player, or dead ball, personal fouls, prior to the completion of the penalty administration for those fouls, the distance penalty for an equal number of 15-yard unsportsmanlike, non-player, or dead ball fouls will offset. Any remaining penalties will be enforced separately in an order of occurrence. A disqualified player or non-player shall be removed. Rule 10.4 states that Article 5, the basic spot is a succeeding spot for an unsportsmanlike foul, a dead ball foul, a non-player foul, or when the final result is a touchback. Note, the succeeding spot may, at the option of the offended team, be the subsequent kickoff, as in 822, 823, 824, and 825. And finally, as we close out this video, we're going to take a look at 2 plays where we have the runner committing the foul of hurdling. Remember, this is a 15-yard penalty, the spot of the foul, and this is illegal in high school football.